Okay, Wednesday night, November 3rd, continuation of the article by Severe Zohar about the Hachamim of Halab, and also to a lesser part of Damascus, as they approach changes in society and modernity begins to evolve. By the way, President Bush won last night. Mavruk.
Here.
Okay, we're on page 80 over here. First thing we did besides the introduction we did last week, we did the first issue, which was the banning and burning by the Hachamim of Halab of the Mikra of Hacham Eliyahu ben Amuzeg. Second issue, Bet Tigubat Hachmei Halab Betahika Izdahit Hilonit HaUthmanit. Basically, the reaction of the Hachamim of Halab to certain type of social laws in the Ottoman Empire. Basically, what we're going to be talking about over here is that the Ottoman Empire decided to remove the realm of ownership of lands that would normally be solely registered with religious courts, whether it be a Muslim religious court or a Beit Din or something of the sort, and move it over to secular court system, whereas all lands, all properties must be registered with the government, and for the purpose, obviously, of the king being able to collect taxes and what have you. This is an issue that is discussed in the Rishonim, and they all basically say, if this is something that the king or the empire, whatever it may be, decides upon, we must apply the law, the concept that we have of Dina, de-malkhuta Dina. The law of the land is the law of the halakha. And this is what we must apply, because it's for the betterment of the land that we live in, the betterment of the king, of the empire, and in the long run it must be better for all the inhabitants of that country. Now we have a case over here where everything happened to be in the hands of the Muslim religious courts, the Jewish religious courts, the Christian religious courts. They all had their own laws and statutes. All of a sudden, things change in Ottoman Turkey. He was the new sultan, and he had to be a lot more open-minded. He wanted to bring not just emancipation and freedom, he wanted to bring enlightenment to the Turkish Empire. All of a sudden, tremendous secular changes started to go on in the Ottoman Empire. ארגנה מחדש את מערכות בתי המשפט שבאימפריה באופנים שהקנו יתר סמכויות לערכאות חילוניות. All of a sudden the court system in the government started changing to become more of a secular court system. וזאת על חשבון סמכויות השיפוט של בתי הדין הדתיים לסוגיהם. And this is something that started to take away some of the power that the religious courts had within the Ottoman Empire. דוגמה חשובה של חקיקה חדשה מעין זאת היא חוק רישום המקרקעין. An important example of how things changed because of this law was the law that took away of the registering of lands, of properties that used to be solely with the religious courts and now moved into a secular system. This, in Turkish, it was the law of the taboo. שנחקק בשנת 1858 לגבי אדמות ממלכתיות מירי, בשנת 1874 הוא חל גם על נכסים בבעלות פרטית מלאה אדמות מולק. So they had two different laws, one that went into effect in 1858, one in 1874. 1858 was strictly for the lands that can be considered lands that belong part of the kingdom, and 1874 it's also on actual property that had a single ownership, and also fell into land status and was also considered for the king, mulk, like melech, mulk. Ben al-Shi'ar, Kabah Hok. Among other aspects, the law established, he called Iskat Nadlan, Hayevet Birishum B'Misradeh Rishum Mekarka'in, Misradeh Taboo. That the law established that any sort of transfership of land or property, whether it be by sale or otherwise, must be written and registered in the registrar's office for this. It has to be a central location. Things have to be registered there. Whether you lived in Ottoman Aleppo, or Ottoman Izmir, or Ottoman Baghdad, they all had their central office for for registering these things, and everything was sent with copies back to the central offices wherever they had them in Turkey, in Istanbul, I guess.
Inheritance as well?
Yeah, for land it would be inheritance as well, sure. Because it changes ownership. Anytime the ownership will change. وبعدها الريشوم يقباها أوصار تهمسيم معاملات همجيعين له. And at the time of registry, the treasurer then and there will decide upon the amount of taxes and fees that are coming to him. That's the only time he will basically get paid, at that time that it gets registered. بنوصف على كاخ. In addition to this, هشتمع من حق كل عسكر ندلان أشلوت الشام بتهابو لو تكر تكفى على يدين مزدوت مشبات عثماني. And automatically we understand from this law that any sort of such transaction of property or land that is not registered according to this taboo law will not be registered, it will not be recognized with any sort of force whatsoever, will not be recognized whatsoever by any sort of Ottoman legal system. بمشبات عبري قيام كلال دينا de-malkhuta Dina. Of course we know in Jewish law we have a law, Dina de-malkhuta Dina. The law of the land is the law. Law meaning of halakha. مشمعته هي كي halakha مكيرة بتوقف تحيكا مملختيت لو يهوديت. That our Torah not only realizes but it recognizes and it accepts any sort of law of the land, of a non-Jewish law that happens to be a government or federal law. But this law is not so general that it includes everything. تحكام ملخيت هبقى لها كدير إلو ملاخوت أسرو بشبات إلو محيوت هلخا. Obviously if the law tells you, well, you must do this Abudah on Shabbat, or you can't do that Abudah on Shabbat. Things like that obviously do not affect our halakha of Torah, and Dina de-malkhuta Dina is obviously tossed out the window. That doesn't go into effect. בימי הביניים וגם בעת החדשה נחלקו חכמי הלכה באשר להיקף תחולת הכלל בתחום המשפט האזרחי. During the Middle Ages and even in the more modern times, the Hachamim differed as to which laws exactly fall into more of, into the realm of being a citizen of the land and what would affect you or not affect you. But when it comes to these laws of property ownership and registration and taxes, without any sort of argument, nobody differed with this. Halakha agrees wholeheartedly with the government. Like we mentioned, I believe we mentioned it last week, Rabbi Ishaq Moshe Afia was the chief rabbi in Damascus. Okay, Rabbi, he says it right here. Rabbi Rashi Shel Damascus, Be'asur HaHanon Shel Me'ah Yutet. In the last decade of the 19th century, he mentions this. Kevan, and this is his writing. Kevan Shebizman Hazeh, Ken Yisad HaMelech. Since nowadays this is what the king established. V'hana'ato, for his good, u'to'alato, and for his betterment, for his benefit, al kol min karka, on any sort of land, shelo yizke bah koneh, o hamekabel matana, ad she'abirehu ba'alav mishmo lishmam bepinkas ha'imlak v'hatabu. The law said, if you want to get a piece of land, whether by sale or whether it be by gift or any other sort, it cannot be registered under your name until it actually goes and gets registered with this law of tapu. This is the law of the land. And the king, he said any other sort of contract for that land is pasul. Okay, it's null and void. it means nothing. It must be registered with the taboo. After you register with the taboo, you want to register it with something else for your religious beliefs, go and do what you want. But it must be registered. In Kain, since that is the case, Devar HaMelech in Lehashiv, we do not return the word of the king empty-handed. Dina, de-malkhuta Dina. The law of the land is the law. And therefore, nowadays, there is no difference whatsoever between the deen of the king and the deen of the Torah. It is all one. This is the Chief Rabbi of Damascus. And he happened to be a very, very big rabbi. He wasn't some guy that happened to be living... No, he happened to be a very, very big hacham. His most famous works are called Penei Ishaq. It's about 8 volumes. Of heavy halacha. Okay.
Was Damascus more open-minded and more...
I don't think so.
Than Halab, no?
I would say not. Based upon many of Rabbi Abu Lafia's writings, I would say definitely not. And maybe in the future we'll read his take upon riding the trolley on Shabbat and see how close-minded he was.
Is that one also?
Rabbi Abu Lafia, interesting teshuvah about riding a trolley on Shabbat. Anyway, but that's not our case right now. I'm just trying to think about, again, that approach of Hachamim of the old time facing modern technology, changes. And even though this is not technology, but it's a new law, all of a sudden, what do? We know the Ottoman Empire since 1500, it's been doing this. All of a sudden, 350 years later, it changed the law on us. We don't have this on the books. What do? How do we approach it? So, Rabbi of Damascus agreed with all the Rishonim and all the Hanunim basically. This is what we do. Dina, de-malkhuta Dina. There's no problem. He kept a very traditional, voice, and he didn't see a reason to have to change. He didn't see a problem with it. עمדה זהה או דומה ביחס למעמד הלכתי של חוק הטאבו נקטו גדולי החכמים בירושלים. Similar stand was taken also by the rabbis of Yerushalayim and Hebron and Safed and Izmir and Baghdad. All these great cities with plenty of Hachamim, they all took a similar stand. But now what happens? Hachmei Halab. No, I'm sorry, what Halabi? We have to be different. Shalilu mikol v'kol hakara ha'ilchati b'tabu. They totally not only disregarded, they looked askance at who is this guy, the king, sultan, to create a law like this, and we're going to accept it? No. The rabbi showed you at the beginning of the class. I told you Morris Harari's grandfather. I'm almost positive it's him. I believe he told me that at one time. And if not, we'll show you his picture again. Here we go. Rabbi Moshe ben Ishaq Harari. Okay, Rabbi Harari, right there.
He don't look like them.
I don't care if he looks like him, doesn't look like him. There he is. Very funny guy, doesn't look like him. Anyway, he's the dean of Aram Soba. And basically, we know that he was involved in a lot of different teshubot and a lot of different issues. And he made Aliyat Yerushalayim towards the end of his life, and he passed away there at the end of 1917. Okay? About a couple of weeks before Hanukkah. Alright. So, كيف שכתב בדמשק חלב משה בן יצחק הררי מחלב לא פשטה הלכה זו בארם סובה יכוננה עליו אמן. No, this law did not spread out to us here in Halab. No, כי רבים קונים בשטר לבד. Many people just buy with shtar, with a contract.
Right, so he's using it like the language of the Hachamim on the law of the king. His law, lo pashta.
Yeah, law of the king.
Right.
Right. No.
We're Halabi.
Halabi, exactly. We're above and beyond, כי רבים קונים בשטר לבד, כשטרי מתנות, סחירות ואפוטיק. אף על פי שלא נכתבו בטאבו ובפנקה של אימלק. We go on the way we always did. We have a contract. The contract's good. We sign it. Redeem with what's nobody goes to register. No batik, no shafar. Here we are. We do things the way we always did it. No change. Status quo. ואין עושים אותו שטר הטאבו כי אם לראייה בעלמא. And if it's ever done, it's only done because you need to show it for whatever reason. Okay, here you go, king. We signed up with you. כמו החוג'ית שהיה מקודם זמן. Like another type of law of החוג'ית. Also, we never really accepted it. It was on the books, and once in a while we did it. Take it, okay. Just to show good faith to the king. Okay, see, we have some of our people are rich enough to own a piece of land, so they're here. They're signing up with you. But basically, we don't do that. But even that, he doesn't stop there. All the more so. Anybody who has with him a contract, a bill of sale, בדין מכריחין למוכר לכתוב אותו על שם הקונה בטאבו בעל כורחו ולהוסיף אותו על החולמה. So what's he saying over here? If you have this contract of sale, the bedin מכריחין, they force למוכר, to the seller, לכתוב אותו על שם הקונה, to write this on the name of the buyer on the taboo, to follow the law of the taboo against his own will. And they chase after him until he does it. So what's he trying to tell us over here? Are they following the taboo or they're not following the taboo? What are they doing? Ronnie, talk to me. What's going on here?
It seems like they're forced to follow the taboo.
But in the beginning, he's telling you no.
He's telling you no, but in the end, he's saying that it's almost like they're being forced to, even though it's totally
right. But the forcing the when and why. Only if it's sold, it seems, and they're forcing.
So inheritance doesn't come into play.
Seems not, and partnerships don't seem to come into play either.
Right. So it's just the sale of the lands because it's much more. It's probably more publicly known.
It seems like it. It doesn't make sense what he's saying, I'll tell you honestly.
No.
Let's continue the next three lines, and maybe we'll understand something over here. V'shama'ati, and I heard, שמעלת רבני ירושלים ואזמיר, ירין עליהם אלוהים, תפסו במושלם זאת הסברה. ורבני ארם סובה עדיין לא התיישבה בליבם, אם כן בתהילת רוב הקניינים שהם מדברי תורה, וכגון דה לא אמרינן דינה מלכותה דינה. Doesn't make sense at all. Basically, he's saying that I have heard that the rabbis of Yerushalayim and Izmir basically accepted the whole law, completely. But the rabbis of Aram Soba still has not sat well with them. We have a hard time accepting it. And because if we accept it, then most of the laws of kinyanim, of purchases, that come from the Torah, basically would be annulled. And therefore we do not accept the law in this case of Dina de-malkhuta Dina. The law of the land is law. Translation of Rabbi Harari's writings. This ruling has not been accepted in Aram Soba, for many continue to purchase by halachic deeds alone, as well as deeds of benefit or lease, despite the fact that they were not registered in the tapu or in the registry of properties. And they make deeds of tapu only for convenience of evidence, as with the hujit previously. As a matter of fact, any person who holds a halachic deed of sale, purchase, the Beit Din forced the seller willy-nilly to register the property in the tapu in the name of the purchaser, and they pursue him relentlessly. See, so this is the change. We're reading his shetar, his plain contract, and he's telling us over here that the contract has to be, a halachic deed, shetar of halacha, not a regular city, state, federal type of, commercial type.
But they're still giving in and doing the right thing.
1 second. I have heard that the honorable rabbis of Jerusalem and of Izmir fully accepted the above position cited by Rabbi Abu Afia. but the rabbis of Aram Soba have yet to accept it in their hearts, for if so, you will have negated most transactions based on Torah. And in such conditions, we do not say Dina de-malkhuta Dina. Basically, what he seems to be saying is that only once it's actually done with the Beit Din, then they'll tell the guy, go to the taboo. But if it's not done with the Beit Din, the taboo means nothing to them. Whereas Abu Afia and all the rabbis of the other cities are saying, no, do the taboo, and that's it. There's no reason for the Beit Din whatsoever. This is the difference between Halab and the other places. Okay? So the rabbis of Halab still want to have that stronghold. We are it. We are the central power. We are the ones who not just guide you, we're the ones who force you. We're the ones who dictate what is and what is not. This is the difference. The rabbis in the other places, no. The king made a law, follow the law, you have to go to court, you go to court. That's it. I don't need to know you, I don't need you to come register by me, who am I to force you? That's the difference. The of Halab weren't happy following the law of Dina de-malkhuta Dina that was fully accepted by all the Hachamim, the Rishonim and the Haronim, until their time. For some reason they needed to have a stronghold over the people, and they weren't willing to give it up. That's what we're understanding now. And that goes hand in hand with what we read last week about, this is full of ideas and mistakes and troubling issues basically we need to... What? Tell me, Ezra. Let me see how you're looking at it, how you think.
Yes and no, but the thing is, Hachamim, in this case, sounds like they want the public, the Halabi people, whatever, to go to them before they go to the government.
But why?
To show that they're more important than the government.
But why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
They don't want people going astray, I guess? I don't know.
Astray in what sense? If this is a law that's on the books, okay, it's in Shulchan Aruch, it's in Rishonim prior to Shulchan Aruch, Haronim post Shulchan Aruch. Everybody accepts it, Dina de-malkhuta Dina. Rabbi Abu Afia says, how can we go against it? This is the law, that's the law. Khalas, it's done. The rabbis of Yerushalayim, of Hebron, of Safed, of Izmir, of Baghdad, they all said the same thing. Why? What is holding the rabbis of Halab from saying the same thing? Why do they feel that they need to be so overbearing on the people? What's the issue over here? Maybe there was an underlying social issue. I don't know what it is. And we're not reading it, from this letter that Harari wrote to Abu Afia.
Right.
Or anything else. Maybe he'll say something in the next paragraph or two. But I don't know of anything. Right? Yeah. Let's see. בית הדין של חלב המשיך, אם כן, לייחס תוקף משפטי לדיני קניינים הלכתיים בלבד. Based upon this, we see that the Beit Din of Halab continued to only appropriate the strength of Beit Din for any sort of purchases whatsoever. And they negated and were totally against any sort of relationship to this law of taboo. הרישוב בטאבו נחשב בעיני חכמי חלב כבעל ערך תועלתי גרידא, ובעת הצורך הם אילצו את הצד הסרבן בעסקה להתאים את הרישוב בטאבו למצב העניינים הלכתי. Only if the rabbis of Halab saw fit in certain cases, then they would, make the people go and actually register in the taboo after they have done what is required of them al pi halacha. יש לשים לב לכך שחכמי חלב לא הסתיקו את דרכם במישור ההלכתי פורמלי. We have to pay attention, he's saying over here, that the rabbis of Halab never justified their approach according to the normal channels and normal formulation of creating halacha. שכן ידעו כי מסורת הפסיקה ההלכתית מעניקה הכרה לדין המלכותה בענייני הנדל"ן. We have to assume, obviously, that they know the tradition of Pesach Halacha regarding when we accept Dina de-malkhuta Dina and when we don't. אכן הם נימקו את עמדתם במישור של מדיניות הלכתית. They made their own policy. They said, well, we have to make our own policy. Which is in the same, until now we're looking at it as a negative thing, but we can look at it as being very innovative also. We can look at it from a positive side, but at the same time, at least I fail to see what, the great innovation is over here. The innovation is that they went against halakha because they felt they had to go against halakha, and they took a stand contrary to one that was always, had in the past. This is the reaction to modernity. But then again, it seems to just make fanaticism much stronger. It doesn't seem to be part of Bnei Yisrael being part of the common world and the Torah meshing with society and vice versa. It doesn't seem to give us the idea of the Torah and the Jews need to be a light onto the nations. It's very different over here. It seems to be like very closed door. We are the Jews, we are sheltered, we are in our own ghetto, and let the world be. מדיניות הלכתית כניעה לתחיקה העות'מאנית החדשה בתחום זה עלולה לגרור כניעה לכל אורך הקו וביטול המעשה של רוב הקניינים שהם מדברי תורה כדי למנוע הדרדרות מעין זאת הם היו מוכנים לנקוט עמדה הלכתית המנוגדת למשתמע מן הדינים המקובלים בנושא de-malkhuta. Because they need to establish this policy, and for some reason they wanted to, and they saw that accepting such a policy of taboo would, for some reason, annul regular, as Rabbi Harari said over here, his exact words were, "De'imken betelat rob kinyanim shehem medabret Torah." He said that for so you have negated most transactions based on Torah. And because of that, that is the reasoning for not accepting Dina de-malkhuta Dina in this case. So they felt that was the reason to uphold what they're doing. בהמשך הצליחו חכמי חלב לשכנע את חכמי דמשק לתמוך עקרונית בגישה השוללת מן הטאבו הכרה הלכתית. It seems that later on down the road they were able to put enough pressure and to convince the rabbis of Damascus to agree with them. Again, they're always looking for the next guy to agree with them, to somebody else to jump onto the bandwagon with them. Okay? I guess so. But more ekronit. Like, okay, yeah, we're accepting it. We don't know if how thrilled they were, but it seems that later on the rabbis of Damascus did accept the position of the rabbis of Halab. ואולם נותרה מחלוקת עמוקה בינם לבין שאר החכמים באימפריה העות'מאנית. But a raging battle continued to ensue between the rabbis of Halab and the rest of the rabbis of the Ottoman Empire. הנה כך כותב הרב רחמים פרנקו מחברון. Okay, Rabbi Rahim Franco was a big rabbi in Hebron, and I don't know, a lot of interesting things about him, but we're not going to get into him right now. And he writes, he writes to them about their position on the taboo. ملباد دعيدوت زي عن مدينيوت حكمي حلب حيدوش هو بعناي ميكون أكون هذا الداعي لا يخلو دياني إسرائيل لدون هفق حكيها ملخوت. You see, the dayanim of Bnei Yisrael cannot pass judgment against the law of the kingdom. وَأَشْمَامْ بِرُوشَامْ, and the guilt is on their head. حسب حديدة. ويشو محام دياني إسرائيل أمشي تاحل ممشيلة أدونينو هميلخ يروم هدو ويخال المحود بياد حفاظ الديان بزي البي حكام مشاه. There is no dayan of the Jewish nation that can ever reprimand a person of Am Yisrael who wants to be judged according to the law of the king. This is the law of the land, this is the law of the king, this is what he established, and it falls into our preset laws of Dina de-malkhuta Dina. How can we negate it? And how can we come and force a member of the Jewish nation and say, no, you cannot follow the law of the king? Haram. It goes against our ways of the Torah, he's telling you. Not only was it Rabbi Franco, now we have Rabbi Yosef Hayim Baghdad, who we know as the Ben Ish Hai. كتب بزها لشون ربع أبو العافية. He wrote to Rabbi Abu Lafia as such. ואחר שלו אימש את גישת החלבים וטען שרק באירופה הותר ליהודים לנהוג על פי דינה de-malkhuta בכלים אזרחיים. So you're having this whole fight, and the rabbi, I guess, because like we just read in the page before, that the rabbis of Halab were finally able to push their stance on the rabbis of Damascus and saying, no, this is a European innovation of yours to be emancipated and follow follow the ways of the land. It's not our way, etc. So the Rabbi Yosef Hayim writes to them, why do you have to accept this way of the Halabi all of a sudden? It doesn't seem to be right. It seems to go against the Torah. In our city of Baghdad and its environs, everybody follows the laws of the land, and what's v'nimuseh, and it's nimusim, character. Okay, the style of law. كيفية قانون. قانون is the law. حكم إزراحي. Whatever the king says, that's what goes. بإمكان أنان بديدان بعينين وبأكبية شهي تحت مشهد توغر ما. And us, of course, in our city, it is under the Ottoman Empire. كاخ نهاجو. This is our custom. ونعسو كمو معاملو عايز. This is what we do. Whether it's us or معاملو عايز, referring to the Jews of Europe. Because they're the ones who speak a foreign tongue, in other words. Makes no difference. We have to go and follow in the path of the laws and the customs of the land, of the king. Referring to Rabbi Abu Lafia, why? We know what you said before. And why did you change now to say no? We don't follow the law of the land. We have to only, register and write our things in the Din. Where all of a sudden the Jews in your city don't live under the Ottoman Empire, where you're living in your own country, you have your own government. What's going on? What changed all of a sudden? But for some reason Rabbi Abu Lafia was not moved by the words of Rabbi Yosef Hayim, and he responded, התקשרות חכמי חלב לפעילות משותפת נגד פגיעה בדת ובחכמים. I don't know where he's going to go with this. Alright, it's short too, so let's see what's going on here. زمان ما لحال بولموس زي بنوسي de-malkhuta Dina. I think a short while, or a while after this whole issue of Dina de-malkhuta Dina, إرعاء بكهيلات حلب محلوقة بنيميت حريفة. There occurred in Halab a very sharp internal argument. كأشي هخام باشي أبراهام دويك نصال ات السمخوت هرشميت شو عنكا لو أيدي همشاه عثماني ونسال خبوت دعاتو أيت الجرمه عثماش بكهلا حبري هفعت الجشمي حبري بتديها رباني مش خميم. Basically, Rabbi Abraham Dweck, this is Abraham Khalusi, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll double check in a minute.
Should be.
Yeah, should be. Because he's only Abraham Dweck that was...
Pretty
Yeah.
That's why I
No, that's not why.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sleep hell out of it.
Yeah, really.
Okay, he's right down the block. He walks back and forth this house 15 times a day at least. Anyway. So Abraham Dweck, basically he got himself appointed as the Hakam Bashi. He got, the official medallions from the Ottoman Empire. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to carry his office a little further than the next guy. Further to the point that he wanted to dictate. he wanted to overthrow his ideas, his opinions on all the other people that played a role in the community, whether they were the Va'at Gishmi, the regular lay council, or Habrei Bet Hadin HaRabbani, all the members, the rabbis of the Rabbinical Bet Din, Mishar HaChamim, and all the other HaChamim. Okay, so he basically told the committee and the rabbis of every synagogue in the community, imagine to yourself, not that it was each synagogue, it was, it was just a total community-wide thing. I'm the boss. What I say goes, what you say is nothing. Anything you do, you check with me, and that's it.
Wow.
That's basically the stand that he took. Obviously, after a very bitter entanglement, the heads of the community were successful in overthrowing him, getting rid of this guy. Obviously, there were these type of mahlukot were exhausting and they hurt. לקחים להימנע ממצבים דומים בעתיד יזמו חכמי העיר פעולת טקסית של התאחדות והתקשרות שנועדה להבטיח את ליקוט השורות ופעולה משותפת סדורה כנגד כל איום עתידי על שלטון התורה ועל מעמד תלמידי החכמים בעולמה של קהילת חלב. So obviously, because they didn't want such a situation to occur again, they had to create the text of a united and intertied community-wide establishment that would basically protect and ensure that no one person can ever do such a thing again, which sounds like a good thing. Hachamim hamedlakedim yahdav Mosseri ki. So the Hachamim, they got together to form this. They warn us and they say, Anan habbaim hatum, us who come beneath and sign. Hachmeh ורבני ארם סובה קמו בלעודד לעזת השם בגיבורים להקים דגל התורה ליחוד קודשה ברי חוש חנטה. We have come together to firmly establish the unity of God's name. מעכשיו ומעתה חייבנו עצמנו בלי נדר חיוב גמור וחזק להתאסף יחד כולנו כאיש אחד חברים באהבה ואחווה באחדות גמורה בעזרת השם בישועתו ללחום ולשאת לקראת נשק. I don't know what he means by neshek. We're playing words over here, obviously, but we're going to come out and fight against any sort of of ambush by ammunition, but it's more of ambush. Al kol inyan ve'inyan sheithaveh negate toratenu kedoshah. We're going to come out as a united front against any situation that we feel and see is something that comes against our holy Torah. We are obligated to annul and put a stop to this issue. Whether it's a general issue, whether it's a private issue. According to what we see with our eyes, we must uproot it. דגשים אחרים של תנאי התקשרות היו חובת מעורבות פעילה של כל אחד מן החכמים לגיבוי פעולות המאבק ועריכת הסבעות בעניינים העומדים על פרק כשהמיעוט מתחייב לקבל את הכרעת הרוב אף שהיא נגד דעתו מבלתי לגלות דעתם בחוץ לומר לשום בר ישראל מה עשה שחברי רבו עליי. I don't know what he's getting to over here. Rabbi Nisim, you want to help me out here? Other points about this united text that we read about were חובת מעורבות פעילה של כל אחד מהחכמים לגיבוי פעולות המאבק. The obligation of each rabbi that signed on to this, whether he liked it or not, to join in the, in the United Front, basically, whether you like the issue or not, whether you agree or disagree. If this is what the group agrees, you have to join on and agree. And the enforcement of votes of an election with any of the inyanim, any of the issues that are facing us at that moment. And the minority is forced to accept the opinion of the majority, even if it's against his own opinion. And they are forbidden to go outside and say, listen, you know what, I really don't feel like this, but since the rest of the group said so, I have to go along with it. You can't open your mouth, that's it. You're part of the group, you're signed onto this, you're part of this. If the majority of the group says, ABC, when you go out on the street, do you see anybody? Yes, it's ABC. You have to fight adamantly for ABC, even if it's against your own personal will.
It's kind of like brainwashing.
No, but what about the Chief Rabbi?
Right.
What does he come in on this within this whole?
This happened because of the Chief Rabbi. This whole thing happened because the Chief Rabbi tried to dictate over them. He tried to take hold, and
that's like his power lessened now that there was a new Chief Rabbi. Let's say this guy was overthrown or whatever, and there was
once they got rid of Dweck, and they created this new United Front. This new group of rabbis that would oversee things to make sure nothing bad could ever happen again. Obviously, any new chief rabbi that would come in would never have the power that chief rabbi once had. So it seems. I need to look up these sources because I'm not familiar with this issue. I'm familiar that Dweck at one time tried to, take hold of everything, and the people were really sickened by him. But more than that, I don't know about this issue.
Big deal, huh?
Different Dwecks.
Relax.
It's not the same Dwecks. החבורה תתכנס. Okay, come on. החבורה תתכנס באורח קבוע מדי יום בשבוע. The group would have to meet on a regular basis every Sunday. כדי לדון בנעשה בקהילה ובהחלטות הראויות להתקבל. They would have to discuss, basically like the New York Times on Sunday, the week in review. That's what they would do. They get together, review all the events of the week, and see if anything would need to be taken care of. בכל עת שהתרחש מעשה חריג הראוי לתגובה מיידית התכנסו החכמים לכינוס חירום. And of course, if anything happened in the middle of the week that they saw that immediate attention was extremely necessary, then right away all the rabbis would have to come and get together for this. מלבד טיפול באיום ישיר על קיום מצוות התורה, מסכימים החכמים לטפל גם באיום עקיף על סמכות התורה, היינו במקרים שבהם יפגע מאן דהוא בכבודו של תלמיד החכם לא במקצת. And of course, if they saw that any of the Talmid HaChamim or any issue of Torah was, being defamed for whatever reason, and especially if you're dealing with this particular Hacham, and then one of the Hachamim of the group, if he felt that he was being hurt by the people in general, he can call an emergency meeting, obviously, and get this taken care of immediately. היסיבה הבסיסית של המתאחדים בשטר התקשרות הנה של יוזמה אקטיבית הננקטת מתוך תודעה של מערכה, תודעה המשתקפת בביטויים להקים דגל לעזרת השם בגיבורים ללחום ולשאת לקראת נשק. But basically they made this into a very active society that was there to uphold the heritage. And they used words that gave that image. Lakim Degev, to raise the flag. To help God amongst the powerful warriors. To go out and fight. Unbelievable. I'm not... I don't know anything about this guy, honestly. This is the first I really read about this. Let's see what... So this Likdoshim is a rework of this Likdoshim. Likdoshim HaSheva Aris was written by Acham David Laniado, David ben Sion Laniado, Melki Shuba. We all know Aaron Laniado? Mm-hmm. His father. Okay? He was a very big Hacham, very, very Anav Hacham. And basically, he left Halab when he was very young, and supposedly he went back to Halab as well as to other places, and he would spend days and nights basically on his hands and knees in the cemetery, dusting off the tombstones and copying all the epitaphs on tombstones to record them, so we know who the Hachamim were, when they lived, when they died, and what others had to say about them. And he created this book, L'Toshim Asher Ba'aretz, to the holy men that were in the land. In this smaller book, the one that he actually published back in 1952, he doesn't only have rabbis, that he copied their graves from Aleppo, but he also has rabbis from Damascus, rabbis from Greece, rabbis from Yerushalayim, many other places that he happened to find information about. And other ones he would write bits and pieces of information, he would put down documents, and a lot of very interesting details in here. There's even some minor details about the community in the United States turn of the century, what he knew about, because early on he was the rabbi in Atlantic City. Okay? Anyway, different issue. His sons, basically, some of them who are rabbis and some who are not rabbis, but basically based in Yerushalayim, they redid their father's work. They only put the Halabi rabbis, except for one or two others that they threw in here because they felt they had a very great bearing upon the rabbis of Halab or the Halabi people in other parts of the world. And they added pictures where possible, but they also deleted bits and pieces of information where they thought it to be redundant for whatever reason or not necessary. So over here we found out of three of the signatories on this document, whereas over here in the newer version they don't mention those three rabbis at all. And the only thing they do mention over here, though, is that their father didn't write down who the 26 rabbis that signed it were, which is not mentioned over here. This work happened to be published in what year? 1980. And right now they're working on a new version of it, together with Rabbi Abraham Adis, who is probably the foremost archaeologist for the Halabi community in the world. And that's where we stand right now. So we have the whole text that we're reading a small portion of, but we don't have the signatories. But we did find out information that all this happened at the time of Rabbi Shlomo Safdaya, who was big cheese, obviously. He was, what do you call it? He took over for the Hacham Bashi. So obviously, Hacham Abraham Duet Khalusi was usurped, and Hacham Shlomo Safdaya took place.
Yeah, that's the one that we read about before.
The one.
Now we have an article. Basically, this whole issue is brought by Yaron Har'el. Yaron Har'el is a historian who loves to write about the Jews of Syria.
That's Severe Zohar's friend?
Is he his friend? He knows them. I don't know how friendly they are, but they definitely know each other.
I think he quoted him this weekend.
Did he? Okay. So this is the article by Yaron Har'el in the Pa'amim magazine, of 1990, which I happen to have this volume, God knows why. I don't have all the volumes. I have maybe 15 volumes, and they're already up to 100 volumes at least. For whatever reason, I happen to have this volume, and the title is Haddahato Shahacham Bashi Halabi Ha'aharon. Okay, basically the Haddahato is like the pushing away of the last Halabi Hacham Bashi. Now, I don't know why they're calling. I guess they're calling the last Hacham Bashi because it was the end of the Ottoman regime that really gave them the power and the medallions to wear as the Hacham Bashi. Because afterwards it was Rabbi Shlomo Safdaya that we just found out about now, and he just filled his spot, but he never got that official recognition. And I guess every other rabbi after that moved into the time of the Young Turks, and Syria became a French protectorate, etc., etc. So obviously there were no more official Ottoman chief rabbis within Syria. Another lengthy article.
So the Ottomans themselves designated the chief rabbi?
No, the Ottomans did not designate the chief rabbi. What would happen in the Middle East or in countries under Ottoman rule is that the rabbis of the city itself or the community council of the city would basically decide who they wanted as their chief rabbi. Usually this is the way it worked. Sometimes, things happen, directly from the Sultan, where he would, force somebody. But generally it was the community would decide who they want as the chief rabbi, and through their connections and their pull, they would get that person established and recognized and registered to be the official Hacham Bashi. And there were cases, obviously, where that did not happen. Or somebody from the outside was placed as the chief rabbi. There was an incident of Hacham Hiskiya Shabbetai. Hacham Hiskiya Shabbetai, it's probably right after Hacham Shlomo Savdeya, as the chief rabbi of Halab, and he was an outsider. He was not a Halabi, something that never happened before. All the rabbis of Halab were Halabis. Hacham Hiskiya Shabbetai would call him Turkish. And he became chief rabbi, and he had incidents with certain members of the community, and even though it seems from his writings that he was a big hacham, that people didn't exactly get along with him too well. Okay? Basically the Suttons and others. And so when Hacham Hiskiya Shabbetai came to visit here in Brooklyn, 1922, Abraham Sittehon was upset about the whole issue, because now everybody that came to Brooklyn, whether they were somebody in Halab or not, now they're all American, and everybody thinks they're a big shot. We have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, we could live what we want, we could drive what we want, Not only assimilation, it was that, the breakdown of the old class status that they had in Halab, and now everybody's equal. If you're good, I'm good. If you're bad, I'm bad. We're all one level. So now, people who could never even imagine Halab to sweep the streets of the dirt, that the Hacham Bashi walked upon, now they're talking to him and walking up to him as if they're his equals. So at the time, Abraham Stehon didn't, who are you, all of a sudden, all you people, you're running up to this guy like he's a big somebody? You don't know what kind of problems he made for us in Halab. He was a troublemaker, this Hacham. He caused problems for us. We couldn't wait to get rid of him. And if we couldn't get rid of him, we were dying to come here to America or to go to someplace else. And now you're looking up to him. You people are a bunch of idiots. He's an idiot. And you people, me, I'm from the Science, I'm from the Fringe, I'm from the, from the higher echelons of the community. I know what was going on. Our family was, part of the Beit Din. We know, what was going on among the rabbinic circles, what have you. This is no good. Obviously, everybody felt like, who the hell, what's with Sutton over here? Screw him. They sent home his Koracha to him. Don't come back to Knis. We don't want you here. Whoa. Sutton, though, was a Hacham, and he was rich. No problem.
Build my own.
He bought his own. He bought a house. That's all. He went to Syria. He went to Damascus. He bought the bulk of the Anjil library. There was a Beit Midrash in Damascus, Shemaiah Anjil. He bought the bulk of it. He had the books sent over to Brooklyn. Put them all to this house that he bought. He turned it not only into his own private knis, but it became the Beit Midrash. All the rabbis of the community would come to study over there because he had all the books. Wow. He had it open for all of them.
At least he didn't close it off to them.
No, because he himself was Talmid Hacham. Mm-hmm. We have some of his writings back and forth with Hacham Meir Watnin. We never discussed him in class with you yet. A lot of people we have to find out about.
Oh yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, the guys in the class like Hacham Meir Watnin. Hacham Meir Watnin was a big rabbi in Tiberias, in Tiberias, and basically he came to the United States pre-World War I to collect funds. There's a place over in the United States, there's people, there's Jews, they have money, let's go collect. And basically he got here, Lower East Side, he obviously found out about the Halabis and the Shamis and what have you. And he was a very big Talmid Chacham, and he spoke well, and he was very, very wise and very humble. He was an all-around great Chacham. The people loved him, and they were enjoying his time here. It was time for him to go back. World War I broke out. All the sea routes were closed. He can't get back. He was stuck in America for the next 4 or 5 years. He's stuck here. So he became the first Chief Rabbi of the community, back on the Lower East Side. And basically, when World War I ended, they didn't want him to leave. They wanted him to stay, obviously. And he admired them as well. He writes a whole essay at the beginning of his book that he printed back in 1939, all about the life and times of in the United States, living with the Halabi community, and how wonderful it was, and what he learned from them, what they learned from him, and you have a lot of Sheilot and Shuvot between Sa'in and Watnin. So we know he was a Talmid Chacham. So it's just very interesting, We have all this back and forth going on.
That's great stuff. Should have met David earlier in life.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. At least I don't plan on it. I hope not, at least. One day we have to get all this written down.
Paul has it in his basement.
Yeah, what was the question?
Paul wishes he had it in his basement.
What was the question?
Paul doesn't
Whatever
have it.
happened to the NGL library?
Paul doesn't have it. What makes you say Paul has it? Paul wishes he had it. Basically, Knesset Tehon continued to function, until Acham passed away, and for a short time thereafter. Then basically, people moved away from that neighborhood. Things were, from Bensonhurst, I'm talking about, and things were packed up. And then when Sha'arei Sion, the dome as we know it, opened up, the books were basically, according to the family, members of the family who are now deceased, they say that the books were placed there for safekeeping. And there was a room upstairs called Midrash Rambam, which you probably never saw. It was a closet. It was half the size of this room, which is considered small, obviously. And it was also, wall-to-wall books. It was like, if you go upstairs in the back of the ladies' section, you go out into the hallway, there were 3 small doors, and one of those doors was Midrash Rambam.
You could never open that door.
Yeah, I have the key in the basement.
Yeah.
I don't know if that room's still, as far as I know, the room's gone after the renovations.
It was still locked door. Nobody
It was locked.
Wasn't his father-in-law on the committee?
Yeah, his father-in-law was on the committee.
That's the paper I gave him.
You showed it in the paper?
I gave it to him.
Not to Barani, saw the paper?
You saw that paper I gave him.
Okay. Anyway, that room had a lot of interesting books, and most of those books came from the Satins, and they were in Sha'arei Sion for safekeeping. Basically, when the Satins wanted them, no, you can't have them. They're ours. They belong to us. They've been in Sha'arei Sion. They now belong to Sha'arei Sion. You can't have them. We want them. They're ours. Our fathers, our grandfathers. No, we're not giving them up. They're ours. They're not leaving here. With the renovations of Sha'arei Sion, God only knows what happened to the books.
I'm sure there's still there.
Where?
They got the room.
Is the room still there? It's not there anymore.
What, did they renovate upstairs?
Yeah.
Oh boy. To what extent? There's still that hall, that little hall. There's still that little hall.
I went, listen, I'm there every other week for a wedding. I couldn't find it.
Really?
I couldn't find the room.
Somewhere. They're probably
Where?
in boxes or
Come on,
something.
Sherlock Holmes, let's go.
I went looking for...
They're somewhere.
Yeah, where?
They're not that stupid.
Oh, yeah?